Hey everybody, Ian Campbell here, CEO of Mission Suite. Hope you're all doing well and you're having a great Thursday. Tomorrow's wrapping up the week and hope you had some good weekend plans coming up too. Today, I'm actually going to follow up on a part of the conversation that I referenced in Tuesday's video about account-based marketing. So when we were talking about the account-based marketing thing and I was kind of walking you through some of the highlights of, excuse me, some of the highlights of actually planning an account-based marketing campaign. And if you haven't watched that one, definitely recommend it. Excuse me. But during that video, I actually talked a little bit about dynamic emails and the fact that if you have a good marketing platform in place, a good CRM and email marketing tool in place, that you can create fully dynamic emails that will allow you to create one email and then customize it for your contacts, for each contact based on specific information in the demographic record, right? So, for example, if the company is Ford, then you could have a section that talks about Ford, or you can have a picture of a Ford F-150, things like that, right? So, I thought that I'd talk a little bit more about that. This probably won't be a long video by any means, but definitely one that is important to discuss. So dynamic emails are kind of an interesting thing, actually. So every email marketing platform, even Salesforce's email marketing tool, is going to have the ability to drop in like first name placeholders, right? So dear first name, hope all is going well in city, you know, and how is business development going in company name, right? So those types of things. So every email platform, just about, is going to have those kinds of placeholders. What's important to look for, though, when you're building out any sort of automation campaign or any sort of like the account-based marketing stuff that we were talking about on Tuesday, is the ability to build truly dynamic emails. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow you to write one email and then cut it up in different ways and build in different personalization points along the way. So for example, if I'm writing, so again, using I don't do work in the automotive industry, but they're big brands that everybody knows. So if I'm targeting the automotive industry, and let's say I want to actually target automotive manufacturers and retailers, right? So the folks that actually sell them and the folks that make them. So that's what I'm going to target, and I want to know. I want to be able to create one email, and for the most part, my value proposition is going to be very similar. My across the board, it's going to be targeted and tweaked for those specific for those specific companies. But for the most part, it's going to be relatively similar, and the emails that I'm going to send are going to be relatively similar to one another. And so it's fine to write one email, but how do you take that one email and make it apply to 12 different companies, 15 different companies, 30 different companies, 100 different companies? How do you create one email that can therefore apply to all these different companies without having to write specific email campaigns and copy and change and whatnot for each target that you're going to do? Because if that were the case, then it would be a nightmare and probably take longer and cost more than it's going to be worth to actually run those campaigns. So it's important to have those kind of dynamic emails, that dynamic capability. So what do I mean by that? Let's dive a little bit deeper into what a really dynamic email looks like. So the easy example, I do a lot of business in both Denver and San Diego. I'm originally from Rochester, New York. I have family in Washington, D.C. I like to go travel and go into different cities and whatnot. And I like to write things off because I'm a business owner. So I tend to loop business development work into every trip that I take. Whether I'm going to see my folks back in Rochester, whether I'm going to see my aunt and uncle and cousins in DC, or if I'm in San Diego or Portland or what have you, right? So wherever I am, I tend to go out and develop business. So when I create a new contact in my contact form, in my database rather, then I'm able to say, okay, I met this person in San Diego, or I met this person in Rochester or Denver or wherever, right? And so what a dynamic email will do, a really dynamic email will do, is go beyond just saying, hope things are going well in Denver, or I hope things are going well in San Diego. What a good dynamic email will do is actually take that information and create and allow you to build out different paragraphs or different content for each of them. So, for example, I can go into my email builder in Mission Suite, and I can type in "Dear first name. It was great to meet you at where we met, right? University Club in San Diego, or it was great to meet you at the Denver Athletic Club, or it was great to meet you at the Genesee Club in Rochester." So great to meet you at that place. And then, here's a reminder of what I do. And then finally the call to action paragraph, right? Let's get together for breakfast or coffee sometime. Or let's jump on a call, or whatever the case might be. So, but what a good dynamic email will do is that last call to action paragraph, for me anyway, what I do is I use a dynamic placeholder. And this dynamic placeholder will look at the contact record, and it will actually it'll identify, okay, it says that he met this person in Denver. And if the market field that I use is Denver, then I'm going to drop in the paragraph saying, we talked about getting together. I'm usually open for meetings Tuesdays and Thursdays. What does your calendar look like for breakfast or coffee? And so then, therefore, there's my call to action, right? If it says that I met this person in San Diego, then it's going to say, we talked about getting together again. I think I mentioned that I split time between here and Denver. So how does a call sound, right? Let's schedule a call for sometime in the next couple weeks as a follow up. Then we can circle back once we next time I'm in town. And so Denver people get, so all I've done is written one email, right? And Denver people get the offer for breakfast or coffee, because this is where I am most of the time. San Diego people say, I think I mentioned I split time between here and Denver. Let's do a phone call. And then I can also do a catch-all everything else type of a thing. So anybody else, if I say that I met them in Rochester or DC or Portland or Miami, wherever, if I say that, then everyone else gets, hey, you know what? I split time between Denver and San Diego. I'm usually only out here for short times or holidays. Let's do a phone call, right? So it feels like a very, very personalized email, because it sounds like I'm writing directly for you in the situation in which we met. But what I've actually done is I've created some key points and then created a catch-all. So I've only written one email, but that email can apply to anybody across the board because it's dynamic. And it's actually dynamic. It's not just a dear first name or, we met in city. It's a truly dynamic email that actually changes the entire paragraphs or entire, full-on images, or it can pull in their own placeholders or anything else, right? I mean, it can actually you can build complete emails using these dynamic placeholders. So going back to the example of Ford versus Chevy versus Toyota, whatever the case might be. Let's say you're, again, going back to targeting accounts and doing account-based marketing. If you have an email that is somewhere along the steps of your sales process, and that email is set up it's set up to be dynamic, and you've got people from Ford, you've got people from Toyota, you've got people from Chevy that are in that that campaign. You can create an email that replaces the image, the hero image of your email, with an F-150 if it's Ford, Silverado if it's Chevy, Tundra if it's Toyota. And I'm going to run out of car names here in a minute, but you can completely change out those images, because again, you're using a dynamic campaign. Because if the company is Ford, drop an F-150. If the company is Chevy, drop a Silverado. And I think that's still Chevy. But if the company is Toyota, drop in a Tundra, right? So all those different things that you can really kind of distinguish between. And then again, if here's my value proposition for people at Ford. This is what we can offer you, right? And this is what we can offer product managers at Ford. This is what we can offer marketing directors at Ford. This is what we can offer salespeople at Ford, right? So you can get that specific and you can get that granular, but you have to build it out and you have to be able to create dynamic emails. And so that's kind of what I'm talking, and that's kind of the basis of what I'm telling you about here, is that if you want to do anything with any sort of targeting, any sort of automation, or any sort of account-based marketing, you've got to be able to create dynamic emails in your campaigns. And so if your CRM or your email marketing tool or whatever you're using for that, it doesn't have the ability to actually create dynamic campaigns, and that by that I mean changing out entire sections of content based on the information that's in the contact record, then it's time to start looking somewhere else. So Mission Suite does have it, of course, and and it really is. It's a cool tool to use. It's a fun tool to play around with, and it's fun to be able to see how you can personalize all these emails based on just what's in that contact record. So with that, I'm going to say goodnight, and it's been great to, obviously, as always, great to get together with you. I'll be back on Tuesday. I'm actually going to be traveling back to Denver from LA on Tuesday, and so I'm not sure exactly when I'll be able to get on and do a Facebook Live video, but you can guarantee that I'll be here. So with that, I'm going to say thank you so much. You have a great night, and yeah, enjoy the weekend. Cheers.